street side visit. It was so fun.
Go ahead, Shane, whenever you're up and running. I'd like to call the special public meeting of the Roseland Town Council on October 14th at 6 p.m. to order. I make a motion that we dispense with the pledge tonight. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will move on to business at hand, which was carryover from the last council meeting, which was ordinance number 2025-4, which is an ordinance of this. I'm going to use this as the second reading, so I have to do it in this title only. But if there's any questions, we can go back through it. But it's an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Roseland approving the petition for a special use filed by Pinnacle Investments LLC for property being located at 220 East Pendle Street, Clay Township, Town of Roseland, Indiana. I'm going to open up the floor for anybody to speak in favor of it. We're going to do just like Board of Zoning Appeals. You got 3 minutes to speak for it and 3 minutes to speak against it. Do I have anybody that wants to speak against it?
Well, could you repeat for everybody what you were sharing with us before the meeting about the changes since the area board meeting?
Yeah, I was going to do that after everybody because most everybody here is aware because I've talked with the realtor from BZA, and then that's why I informed you. I said I have none tied. I'll let you know. But then I'm going to put it on the record so before we vote on it, everything's going to be listed. Because I'll do one more reading, and then if you want, I'll read the whole thing and then put that addition on there before we do any votes, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I was just suggesting I'd like to hear the changes from last time at whatever point you're going to do that.
Well, the only changes that have actually been made are there's not really any changes. There's just been additions because this is just for the special use
I see.
for it being a single
Not on
family.
the setbacks yet.
Well, not yet. This is just for the special use of the property to go from single family dwelling to multifamily dwelling.
Understood.
When we put this part of it, the additions on the record, they'll be going back to BZA for the finalization, and then it comes back to here for the final approval on any of the changes, additions, and requirements. Did I do that right?
So just to clarify, I think if you guys, which you wouldn't continue with that written commitment, if you come to that separate agreement, you might need to come back to BZA, but at this point, as long as you make your approval subject to conditions specific to what you had agreed upon, including, reduction of the setback, then you probably don't need to come back to BZA. The approval is final with your town council approval and any conditions that you place on it,
Okay.
including, anything related to the access and related to
Okay. That's why I'm glad you're here. And that's why when she said she was going to be here. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll read the whole thing. I'll put these additions into that as requirements. And then I'll open up the floor for against, for, and everything else. That's, like I said, I like to try to cover all my bases to where I want to make sure I do things right and everybody's on the same page. Excuse me, I am going to take a drink of water before I start reading this. Okay, and I'm not going to classify this as the third reading. I'm just going to make this addition to the second reading. Already did the title. And then it says, the same being filed with the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. Whereas Pinnacle Investments LLC have filed a petition seeking a special use for multifamily dwellings, condominiums in the R residential district. And whereas the Area Board of Zoning Appeals have acted on said petition and forwarded the same to the St. Joseph County Council with a favorable recommendation. And whereas the Roseland Town Council pursuant to IC 36-7-4-918.6 is vested with the authority to approve or disapprove said position or petition. And whereas due notice and public hearing has been given to this petition, it is hereby ordained by the County Council of St. Joseph County, Indiana, that Section 1, Pinnacle Investments LLC have heretofore, I hate that word, filed a petition seeking a special use permit for multifamily dwellings, condominiums, in the residential district. It is hereby approved subject to a site plan and conditions, if any, hereby attached and made part of this ordinance. The findings of fact attached are hereby approved, adopted, and incorporated into this ordinance by reference. Section 2. This ordinance shall be in full force and effective from and after its enactment and publication as required by law. And then it says adopted by the Town Council of the Town of Roseland, St. Joseph County, Indiana, on the day, month, 2025, having been passed by a vote of blank in favor and blank opposed. And with the additions, with negotiating with the developer and the realtor and Clay Fire Chief and Clay Fire Marshal, we've come to an agreement that there's going to be a 20-foot setback to the side of the first building, setback off of Pendle Street, not from the street that goes down inside of the development. The street that's going into the development is going to be required to be a minimum of 20 feet wide, and at the end of each driveway to each condominium, the last 2 feet of the driveway closest to the street is required to have 8 inches of concrete in order to handle any weight from outriggers from the Clay Fire Territory ladder truck. There will be no gate put to the complex, and where the street follows south, just to where it's going to tee off on either the east side of the street or the west side of the street. It depends on where the water lines are ran for the development. There will be a fire hydrant installed for Clay Fire Territory usage. I'm trying to think. I don't think that I do believe that I've covered all the, and the developer has agreed to give the town of Roseland $100,000 towards the repaving of Pendle Street once the construction traffic is done and over with. And as of that, that is everything that I have on that. So I will open the floor for somebody, if anybody has anything against. You have 3 minutes to voice it, but please state your name and address for the record, and we'll go from there.
I have a question. Liz Ruley, we own the property directly across the street on Pendle to the north. And then our son, Anthony, and his wife, Haley, own 209 East Pendle, which is adjacent to that. There was during the area board meeting, there was a question raised about the length of the driveways and the ability to park cars in the driveways where the cars were going to be able to park. They were 16 feet during the area board meeting, and that was when the roadway was also 16 feet. So now the roadway is going to 20 feet, as I heard you say.
Correct.
So have the driveways now been shortened additionally?
May I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Fariel Sharif from the Area Plan Commission staff, just for the record. So I believe the original site plan actually did show that. So nothing has changed as far as the 20 feet. The question was more, should it be 24 feet?
Okay.
So they're now agreed to keep it at 20 feet. The question was if the fire department is okay to access with 20 feet. But it's not, it sounds like they've come to some kind of understanding that they would have pavement that would allow the fire trucks to turn around. So I think that the site plans are showing would keep the driveways at the length it was previously, but they would also need to meet any requirements for the distance of parking spaces in the zoning ordinance.
And there's one thing that I did forget. The developer did agree that no parking on the street inside the development, because then that would restrict any access from Clay Fire. So I did forget one thing. I didn't have it on my notes, but when we got on that subject, that did pop back in my head.
I was curious about how the parking was going to work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's mainly 100% parking in the driveways and then their garages.
2-car garage.
Yep, 2-car garage. And if it's a 2-car garage, then they've got at least 2 cars that they can park side by side in the driveway, and it should be plenty of length where nothing's sticking out into the street.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else I know that was a question, but I still have to ask, anybody else want to speak against? If not, we'll move on to anybody who want to speak for, in favor of. And I'll do a second call. Anybody who wants to speak on behalf of the development?
Well, the only thing I would say is I believe what we have here is a city that wants it. There's a good gain for your city with the tax income that will be coming in. My calculation says that could get as high as $150,000 a year. So the city wants it, the county wants it, and we've got a developer that wants it. So I say let's do this deal and get it done.
That's what we're working towards. I just gotta make sure I do all the procedures, because I don't want to have anything come back and bite me in the hiney. Because I ain't got no hiney to get bit off anymore. I've done ruined that over the years. Well then, I'm gonna do the third reading of ordinance number 2025-4. An ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Roseland approving the petition for a special use filed by Pinnacle Investments LLC for property being located at 220 East Pendle Street, Clay Township, Town of Roseland, Indiana, with all agreements that have been made and adjustments that have been made with the developer and the town and Clay Fire be added to this. Do I have a second?
If I may
Oh.
provide a point of order real quick. I believe there actually is a typo in the ordinance. Any instance of St. Joseph County Council actually should say Roseland Town Council. That's my bad. Thankfully, the St. Joe County Council has no jurisdiction over you. So you guys could make a motion to amend the ordinance to where it says St. Joseph County Council to say Roseland Town Council. And then you should have it.
Oh, where it says, it is hereby ordained?
Yes, by the
Okay.
town council. It should say by the town council of Roseland.
Okay,
You just make a motion, somebody makes a motion to amend that, then
okay,
you should be okay then.
okay. I'm gonna start my motion over again. I make a motion that we change the wording where it says it is hereby ordained by the County Council of St. Joseph County, Indiana, that be changed to it is hereby ordained by the Town Council of Roseland of St. Joseph County, Indiana, that, as far as the wording goes, be entered, and that the motion to approve ordinance number 2025-4 with all the changes, additions, agreements that have been read into the record, including the parking, be passed.
Would you like me to quickly review what I have for the conditions so we have it on the record?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm all for
So,
it.
yeah, I just have, just so we don't get, crossed anywhere else. One, The interior access drive shall be shown as 20 feet wide, and the last 2 feet of driveway shall be installed with 8-inch thick concrete or is otherwise required by the fire department. Is that correct?
The 8 inches,
8 inches
of-
of concrete, okay. The front building facing Kendall Street, the number 1 building, shall be shown as setback at least 20 feet from the front property line.
yes,
A fire hydrant shall be installed at the rear portion of the property or property keys.
correct.
And no gate shall be provided at the front access on Kendall Street. And then I'm not sure if you can do it as technically a condition, but we'll just go ahead and have it in there that the developer shall provide, was it 100,000 to the town for improvements on Kendall Street.
Correct.
All right.
That was one of the agreements we were talking about at the very beginning, was the redoing of Pendle Street, and I might be able to get it done a little bit more cost effective than he could,
Okay.
but we just want to make sure Pendle's not damaged. So do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. And it passes. Now, on this, do we need to retype this one before we sign it?
If you're comfortable with crossing it out and writing it, then.
Because I just crossed it out and wrote Town of
Yeah,
Roseland.
as long as you're close fine with it, it's fine.
I'm not gonna get in trouble by you? And that is I'm used to getting in trouble at home. I got a room out in the doghouse. Dog lives better than I do. Sure can. Yeah. Go ahead and have that. You want this also? I know this was just for this, ordinance, or the ordinance specifically, but I do need my, members here, we didn't finish something at the other meeting as far as the code violation fines. We didn't get to vote on the ones that have already had fines levied against them going to collections.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna make a motion that the businesses and the residents that have had fines levied against them for, code violations as far as public nuisance properties, which kind of covers some of the residents. Not all the residents have got them yet, but the businesses have had multiple calls. Let's see, there's one. Yeah, there's 3 hotels, actually, and 1 hotel property owner that doesn't have anything on their property right at the moment. That I just got an email from their attorney today asking for more time, which they've had 10 years. But the fines that have been levied against them, I believe that we need to turn it over to collections. Because it'll save us time and a lot of running back and forth to small claims. And well, I think we'll get a better result. And even though the collection agency will get a small percentage at least, they'll be aware that there is a council now that is going to hold them responsible for having an undue amount of calls and safety hazards on their properties and stuff like that. So I make a motion that we turn the violators that have already been served and had ample time to either rectify the problem or pay the fine, be turned over to collections. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And it passes. And I will talk to Heather because I know she's got the information for the collection agency and stuff, and we'll get all that information sent to them. But I also make a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 6:20 PM. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I hope we covered all the bases.